Welcome, Moaa family, to another episode of the Moaa Member Chat. In today's episode, we have a very special guest, Therno Diallo from Rutgers University, the Assistant Director for Facilities and Events. How are we doing today?
We're doing well, Michael. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. So as we start our episodes, we tend to have our Moaa members just go through their journey from when they started in the industry to where they are now. So just kind of enlighten us on your journey. If there's anything that stuck out, just want to hear, where you've been and how you're doing now.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you again for the question. So I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. My parents immigrated to this country from Guinea, West Africa, for a better opportunity. First generation born, first person in my family to go away to college, first person in my family to obtain a graduate degree, the whole 9 yards, and had the luxury of being a student athlete at SUNY Portland, which is a Division III school upstate New York. Played football there, and really that's when my passion for sport and wanting to pursue a career in athletics started. As a part of my sport management program, we was required to go on a 12 to 15-week internship. Decided to do it at John Jay College, a Division III school in Midtown Manhattan. After that, I took a Division II internship working at Francis Marion University down in Florence, South Carolina. Then after that internship, I took another internship working at the Big Ten Conference out in Rosemont, Illinois. And after that internship, I was like, I don't want to do an internship anymore. I felt like I've gained enough experience in the industry to position myself for a full-time opportunity. And then I had the chance to meet Stevie Baker-Watson at the NACDA convention in Washington, D.C. And she had an opening on her staff, an assistant AD job, put my name in the hat for that opportunity and ended up getting the job. So that's just a great example of you never know who you meet, right? And you never know how conversations might lead to opportunities. So I was at DePaul for about 2.5 years there, overseeing their game operations, helping my colleague Sandra manage athletic facilities and do a variety of different things in the Division III space. After 2.5 years there, the opportunity at Rutgers opened up, put my name in the hat for that opportunity and ended up getting the job. So this is my 3rd month working at Rutgers University as the Assistant Director for Facilities and Operations, the primary event manager for softball, women's soccer, swimming and diving, rowing, and secondary for men's basketball behind Dan Ryan, who's our Associate AD. And then obviously the all hands on deck for football. So it's been an outstanding opportunity, excited to be back home, close to the home, and contribute to all the great things that are happening on our campus because Rutgers is really trending in the right direction, facilities-wise, competitive brand, resources and those types of things. So it's really an exciting time.
Absolutely. Now, you are overseeing a lot of events, a lot of sports. Can you speak to your experience working at a Division III campus and how that prepared you for working in a Division I environment?
Yeah, great question. I think Division III is special because it really allows administrators to juggle multiple responsibilities, right? For example, at DePaul, we were a 4-person admin team that managed, 23 varsity sports, 7 athletic facilities, and 400 student athletes, 400 or 500 student athletes. So when you think about that dynamic, it allows you to do a variety of different things. I'm someone who's constantly going to advocate for Division III because it allows you to understand how an athletic department operates, right? Equipment operations, marketing, event operations, compliance. Like your staff is kind of forced to do a variety of different things to contribute to the department's growth overall. So again, being a former Division III student athlete, my background is really at the Division III level. And I think those experiences, being able to juggle those responsibilities has translated well in my role here at Rutgers because again, I have a feel for what it's like, helping out with field preparation, with putting flags out, with turning on scoreboards and doing a variety of things that comes with being an event manager. So now bringing that piece to Rutgers has really served me well. So it's been really awesome.
Now, in terms of you being a former student athlete, can you speak to what keeps the fire, kind of in your belly going for why you continue to be in this industry?
Yeah, great question. My goal is to one day become an athletics director. All right, that's my goal. When I was a sport management student, I had a conversation with Mike Ertz, who's the current director of athletics at SUNY Portland, just to get a feel for what his job entailed. And as he was saying those things, Mike, I had no idea what he was talking about, to be honest with you. I was just nodding my head in agreement. Like, this sounds really cool and not really knowing what it entailed. But as I've progressed along the industry and as I've made connections and gained more experience, it's just reassured me that becoming an athletic director is ultimately what I want to do and where I want to be. Because an AD is really influential in terms of the university process, provides opportunities. It's a great way to lead a department, lead an institution too in a variety of ways. So I see myself being in that role. Certainly not ready for that right now, but I think I'm trending in the right direction as I continue to climb, continue to meet people, continue to gain different experiences, and ultimately contribute to the university's growth overall.
Absolutely. There is no rush, and the main thing is to be ready for when your number is called.
Correct. And also like staying true to yourself along the way too, right? Sometimes as you continue to climb up the rankings, your title change, compensation changes, responsibilities changes, but you have to make sure your values and who you are and what you believe in stays the same, which can be hard, especially when you enter different environments. But if there's anything that I've learned is the importance of staying true to your values and what you believe in, because you have to be comfortable and you have to be content with the man in the mirror when it's all said and done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Could not agree more. So let's segue to off campus and your involvement with Moaa. When did you start with the organization and kind of what excites you about being a part of Moaa?
Yeah, I think it was the fall of 2017 was when I first started, when I heard about Moaa. I really wanted to get involved because it was a great way for me to interact and network with people that look like me, right? People who share similar experiences, similar struggles, and being able to read about other administrators who are excelling in the college athletic space. So once I heard about Moaa, I quickly got involved in it. And I was fortunate enough to be selected as a Moaa Rising Star through Stan Johnson and a few other folks who are members of the board of directors of Moaa. So just being able to be in that space, network, learn, grow. As you know, Mike, it's a relationship game, right? It's all about people. It's all about camaraderie, collaboration, and those types of things. And my involvement with Moaa has been very beneficial for my own personal growth. And being able to see other colleagues thrive and excel in their space too has been very rewarding. So that keeps me motivated too. Like my close colleague, DeJuan Baker, he just got a job working at Colorado, and just being able to see him thrive too, because we came in together within the Emerging Leader Seminar back in 2017, and seeing him do great things, Sheridan Bradford and Sable Lee and a variety of other people, just being able to see them do well keeps me motivated too.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely did see that announcement with DeJuan, and congrats to him on that appointment. Definitely well-deserved. Definitely well-deserved. So something that the Moaa membership may not know about you, you also had a stint in coaching. Yeah. Did you ever see yourself as a coach?
To be honest, I did not. So I had the luxury of coaching two sports. My junior year, I had the chance of coaching football at SUNY Portland after I suffered a season-ending concussion. They asked me to come back on staff to be a member of the football staff, and that was phenomenal. You never realize how much a coach does until you actually are in that position where, you're doing scouting reports, you're recruiting, you're drawing X's and O's, you're doing equipment stuff, you're doing a variety of different things that the student athletes really don't see, right? Because they only see, obviously, the game plan, they see the practice preparation and all that stuff, but there's a lot of back-end things that tends to take place. So when I was a football coach, I really had a chance to expand my understanding of the game of football, mainly from X's and O's standpoint, and working on the defensive side of the ball. And it was awesome. It was stressful at times, right? Because as you know, coaches can be high maintenance and can be very demanding. But I had a great staff at Portland led by Coach Mack and everybody else. So that was awesome. And then at John Jay, during my internship, I was coaching tennis, a sport that I wasn't familiar with, right? So being able to kind of take that lead and contribute to that sport. Carol Castro, who was the former athletic director at John Jay, gave me that opportunity to gain experience on the coaching side and work closely with Coach Chris. So it was awesome. Again, a different tennis and football is certainly different, but it was really fun too, being able to learn that sport, build some relationships with the student athletes, mentor them along the way, and share some valuable advice that I've learned along my career. So both those experiences were very unique.
How did you close the learning curve from coaching football to coaching tennis? Kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, certainly asked a lot of questions, right? I don't like to compare the intensity level because every sport is very intense and very unique in that regard. But the biggest way was just asking questions and watching YouTube videos, especially when it comes to the sport of tennis and understanding the sets, understanding the scoring system, understanding the way to hit the ball and the racket and stringing a racket. I even learned how to string a racket, right? And understanding the tension pressures and all those types of things. So it helps that I was a sponge during my time as an intern at John Jay and just kept trying to soak it all in. Sometimes as interns, we tend to think that we know the answers when, quite frankly, we don't, right? I like to defer to the people who's been there for quite some time and who have that knowledge. So Carol and Coach Chris and everybody else did a great job of coaching me up to learn sport of tennis. And to this day, I still play it recreationally because of my experience at John Jay College. I literally have 4 rackets in my trunk right now, literally.
Okay, so, nice. Now this question, kind of a two-part, since you coach both football and tennis. Who is your favorite football player? And then who's your favorite tennis athlete?
Yeah, favorite football player, hands down, Julio Jones. And I know he's a hot commodity right now because of all the things that he's done for the Atlanta Falcons. But on the low, I've been following this man since he was in Foley High School down in Alabama, and he wore number 82. When I was a senior in high school, he was a receiver that I really admired. I loved how he ran routes and how he caught the football and how he competed. So he wore number 82. I didn't get a chance to wear 82 in high school, but still followed him along the way. And then he ended up starting as a true freshman at the University of Alabama, had a phenomenal season. Then obviously ended up getting drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. So Julio Jones, unquestionably my favorite receiver. And obviously he's a class act too in terms of how he acts off the football field as well. Not much controversy behind his name. So kudos to you, Julio. If I ever get a chance to meet you, that would be awesome. And then you said my favorite tennis player. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think hands down it'll have to be Rafael Nadal. Just like, again, every tennis player is very competitive and very chippy, but I think for him, he just has that it factor, that dog in him, that competitive spirit, and you see it with every hit, right? With every set, every match that he's a part of. So Rafael Nadal for sure is someone that I admire, and plus that cross-court backhand that he has is lethal. So it's awesome.
Now let's stay on the football. For a second, in terms of when you were a player, you speak of that dog. Was there a particular song that you would go to that got you pumped up, or just a genre of music? And maybe even now, when you have a big project that you need to get done, is it something that you go to just kind of hit the iTunes and get you going?
I think for me it's more so instrumental, and I'll go with the 300 violin orchestra. I'm sure everybody and their mother have heard that instrumental. For some reason, just how mellow it is, but then how it just turns up and gets really beaty. Like it's a really good inspirational song instrumental that I listen to, especially when I'm down at times and need that extra juice, because I think we all need that extra juice sometimes. But for sure, that's the go-to playlist in the background when everything is getting rough.
Very cool. So let's segue off of your current profession. If you weren't involved in athletics, what would you be doing?
What would I be doing? I still believe I would be in sport in some capacity. I think I'd probably be working with the youth and recreation. I've always enjoyed working with youngsters, create creative art, whether it's art, leadership, physical education, any of those things. Being able to mentor young kids too is something that I really enjoy. And just being able to build morale, keep my youth to some degree, and see them grow with whatever it is that they're trying to do. So if I wasn't pursuing a career in athletics, definitely somewhere as a youth specialist, a mentor, something along those lines, seeing other youngsters grow along the way.
Absolutely. Now you're definitely, up and coming within this industry. Can you speak to some of the mentors that are currently helping you or that have helped you in the past?
Yeah, one mentor for sure that I have a few, but one mentor for sure that I want to give a special shout out to is Devon Robb. He's currently the assistant AD at Towson, working over their facilities and stuff. He and I had a chance to connect when I was an intern at the Big Ten, where he was the associate director for football operations. I mean, he's someone that I've just really connected with. Genuine individual, has coached me up. We've had a number of difficult conversations, but he just has a genuine care, a genuine interest in my career growth, and someone that I really, really respect and admire. So Devon Robb for sure is one person that I definitely want to shout out. Ron Davis, who's my current mentor. He's the associate AD down at Lynn University. I could easily shoot him a text, give him a call, and he'll pick up. I had some transition questions that I wanted to bounce off of him, and he's been very receptive to that. So whether it's Ron, whether it's Devon, Stevie Baker Watson's on that list as well. Just a variety of individuals that I've connected with that are genuine, that have my best interests at heart. I think those individuals deserve a round of applause and more, because I certainly wouldn't be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for those individuals.
Very cool. It's interesting that, as you mentioned, various names and those that I recognize, and kind of that 6 degrees of separation, we have amongst each other within the industry. It can be very vast, but also can be very small sometimes when you get to know similar people.
Agreed.
So kind of in that vein, one thing we have in common is our time at the NCAA Career Sports Forum event, having a chance to actually be a part of that event. Can you kind of speak on that experience and how that was like?
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to gain a lot of rewarding experiences in our industry, but I think speaking at the Career and Sports Forum was probably the best experience that I've had, simply because I was able to pour into student athletes who are interested in pursuing our industry and looking to understand what college athletics entails. And for me, being able to share my experience, even though I was still in the early stages of my career, I still had valuable insight for them to take away as they was trying to explore what opportunities exist. And then the kind of like the eye-opening part too, Mike, was once I was done, and I was kind of in the lobby area, I had a long line of students who were just interested in asking some more personal questions. And that was pretty rewarding, because it shows that what I was sharing with them was pretty impactful and was pretty knowledgeable. And two, they had more questions, more follow-up questions. And the irony too, during that time that I was speaking on the panel, I was fasting during the month of Ramadan, right? Which is a holy time period in the Islamic faith where we fast from sunrise to sunset. And ironically, Ramadan is starting here next week in 2021. So mentally preparing for that journey. But I think being able to display, right, the authenticity of being Muslim, of being Black, being raised in the inner city, having immigrant parents, being open and being willing to share those experiences, I think really resonated with a lot of people that were there. So again, it goes back to that authenticity piece that we spoke about earlier, right? As you continue to climb up the ranks, I do think it's really important to stay true to that and hold on to what you believe in, because last thing you want to do is fabricate your personality to satisfy those around you, because that's not really good for your mental health, and it's not good for your colleagues' mental health either. So again, authenticity is really important, and I've learned that along the way.
You just mentioned family. How does it feel to be back on the East Coast, closer to your family?
Yeah, it's awesome. It really is. I get to see my mom more frequently. I get to see my dad more frequently. My siblings tend to come over and sleep over as well. But I think probably the biggest thing is just being able to have access to the cultural food that I don't know how to make. Right? Like cooking, I can cook some basic things, Michael, but when it comes to like some of our true cultural dishes, now I just call my mom and she just brings it over, or I can just go pick it over, right? Like those are like the key moments that I really miss too, like the cultural foods and like the being around the family, speaking the language. I think the language is really important too, because obviously when I'm on interviews or when I'm sending emails or leading meetings, I'm speaking English, right? But my cultural language is Fulani, right? So only time I get to speak Fulani is when I'm talking to my mom and dad or people within my Fulani community. So I'm trying to hold on to the cultural heritage as long as possible, even though it's pretty hard doing that when you're in an American country. That's naturally difficult. But it goes back to what I said earlier of never losing sight of where you came from, your values and your beliefs, and keeping that and talking about that and speaking that into existence every single day.
Absolutely. Now, as a native New Yorker, you definitely spoke of culture. Interesting question when I have guests from the East Coast in New York. Let's see, what's your favorite movie that tends to kind of remind you of New York?
Favorite movie? I think I'm going to have to go with Pursuit of Happiness. I'm going to have to go with Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. One of the reasons why is because that movie illustrates adversity to its highest degree. Right? In New Yorkers, we experience adversity on a day-to-day basis, challenges on a day-to-day basis, and we have to find ways to overcome that. In a city that has 10 million people isolated in 5 boroughs, where the competition is very steep, right? And throughout the course of that movie, I just get emotional watching it every time, and just his child being there, sleeping in the train station, having self-doubt, not believing he could make it. And then overcoming that adversity and seeing his dreams come to fruition is, quite frankly, not only the American dream, but it's certainly the inner city dream as well. So for sure, The Pursuit of Happiness is an iconic movie that I tend to talk about a lot. And I don't like to rewatch movies, but that's the only movie that I'll rewatch like 15 times and not be tired of it.
Interesting, because when I do have a favorite movie, like I will rewatch it, and if it comes on, it just kind of makes me stop everything, and I just kind of reminisce of when I first watched the movie, and then kind of I look forward to my favorite parts of a movie that I like. But yeah, Pursuit of Happiness is definitely a great movie, and it speaks to perseverance and making sure that you, even when it seems like your back is against the ropes, when you persevere and then you finally break through. Just that ending scene when he finally gets the job, that definitely gets me emotional too. It's like, because you can
and then he
feel
celebrated
that
at
weight.
the end too.
Yes, that weight lifting off of him. Everyone can relate to that moment of just persevering and finally breaking through. But yeah, let's segue back to being back on campus. Everything involved with COVID and running events. Kind of walk us through that difficulty and how have you and your colleagues managed that?
Yeah, it's been a challenge, right? Especially the testing component, not being able to have fans and spectators early on, right? But understanding that we're still in the global pandemic, right? Like folks are getting vaccinated, we are trending in the right direction, but we're still in the pandemic mode. So we're still exercising the same things that every institution, every state, everybody's doing right now when it comes to masks and social distancing. But we've been, as a staff, here every single day, because obviously, as a facilities and operations department, buildings still need to run, events still need to happen. There's still demands in office space and all that stuff that we need to take care of. And you need to factor in that we have 2 brand new buildings with the Athletic Performance Center on our Livingston campus, and then the Rutgers Academic Success Center here at the Bush campus that we're still trying to manage and troubleshoot and deal with. So, we've been getting after it every single day. We've just been trying to stay safe while doing so. But the COVID piece has certainly created some challenges, and folks get tested as a part of the tier 2 group before athletic events, just to make sure that everybody's safe on staff, and especially for those individuals who are working the game. So we're constantly mindful of that, very mindful of that.
Very cool. Now, is there any particular project you and your team is working on, I guess, outside of your normal, daily responsibilities?
Yeah, especially for our Athletic Performance Center, we're just working on some branding items right now and trying to spice it up, at our R logo on a few spaces, ignite the building with a little bit of flair. So really just branding, graphics, style, feel, graphics is really what some of the things that we're mainly working on. But on a personal note, I think for me, public speaking is a skill set that I'm working on. I think when it comes to speaking in a small group setting, 5 to 6 people, I think I do a really good job of that. But I think once we get to like 15, 20, 30, 40 people in the room, for whatever reason, my hands get a little jittery, words that aren't as clear, I start to overthink a little bit. And the only way you could work on those skills is by being on these platforms and practicing and speaking and putting yourself out there. And accepting the fact that you have that weakness, and it's okay that you have that weakness. Just continue to work at it every single day. So I'm big on personal growth and development, because obviously my goal is to become an AD one day, and obviously public speaking is a key part of every athletic director's responsibilities. So in due time, I'll get there, but I think every day is an opportunity for me to chop at it for sure.
Absolutely. I think public speaking is one thing that every administrator is always looking to get better at. And one thing that I've learned through public speaking, and in this position with the NCAA, I think I'm more privy to being in front of audiences and different audiences and whatnot. And one thing that I've learned is every time you speak, something is always just kind of different in terms of maybe how you feel it went. Sometimes you think it went well. Sometimes you think you didn't speak as clearly as you wanted to. Right. One thing I've always learned is what has helped me is the better I prepare, I think I'm able to articulate better. And so that's one thing that I've learned is when I break down, okay, why didn't I do as well as I wanted to? And I always lean back to, okay, what was my preparation? Okay, did I prepare properly? Because you can prepare, like in football, you can prepare all you want, but if you're working on the wrong plays, you get out there and everyone is
that can be problematic.
Yes, it can be problematic. Yeah. So that's one thing that I've learned that has helped me, and it's a continuous battle. I definitely can speak to that, and I always want to get better at speaking in public.
And we just can't always allow self-doubt to trickle in too, because sometimes it's all self-doubt and it's all in your brain. But as you know, your brain is a very powerful organ that could influence you sometimes. So we got to find ways to cancel out the noise too.
Yes, indeed. Yes, it's a muscle. So the more you, like you say, you speak positivity within your thoughts and your performances, it only is right that that's going to be more of the outcome with all your intended goals.
Agreed.
Absolutely. So we are at the point of our episode where it's our Moaa Member Minute. It's a chance for you to speak to the membership and give any professional or personal advice.
Right, yeah. I want to give a special shout out to Moaa. Again, I feel like I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for the network and the people that I've met along the way that has coached me up. I think if there's anything that I could tell you all is to stay true to who you are, right? Stay true to what you believe in, stay true to your values, understand what your core values are and speak to it every single day. Understand that some days are going to be better than others. But if you continue to inject that positive energy into your brain, as Michael alluded to, you start to realize that good things will start to happen. And I firmly believe that good things happen to good people. And try and be consistent with how you communicate, right? So if you're interacting with the custodial staff member, you'll interact with the athletic director the exact same way, right? Don't treat somebody better because of their title, their ranking, where they're at in your organization. Because if you remove all those things, at the end of the day, we're all people, right? And I think it's critically important to treat other people with respect, especially in today's world where things have just been sour lately. And these are struggles that we're obviously solely trying to overcome. But that human element in what we do is so critical. So I've learned to embrace that and I speak that into existence. I talk that to my staff every single day because at the end of the day, people is what make the world go around, especially in the world of athletics. People might forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. So always keep that in the back of your mind.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Therno, for sitting down with us in the Moaa member chat. We definitely appreciate it. Moaa membership, keep your eye out for this young man. He's doing some great things. He's up and coming, and we are definitely confident that in the future that he will be sitting in the chair, as we like to say. So, absolutely. So without further ado, Moaa family, I'm being your host, Michael Bazemore, wanting you to stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned.
Thank you so much, Moaa.